Prosperity is plentiful on China's southernmost province of Hainan Island, at least in the city of Sanya, a fast-growing, fast-moving city where the streets can be an assault to the senses, with scooters, buses, and cars beeping, ignoring red lights, and pedestrians seemingly unfazed by all the commotion, tapping on smartphones, playing a game of chicken as they cross the road. However, the pathway from prosperity to poverty is not far off the bustling boulevards and busy blocks of downtown. Take a short drive from Sanya into the mountain villages, and you'll cross the growing divide between the haves and have-nots of Hainan.
Poverty is very big. Some farm industry will come in and lease their land, but yet they won't hire them. They'll bring outsiders to hire. So you see a lot of people just standing around playing cards. We saw a lot of that.
Our team from Cross Culture Church spent a week in Southeast Asia with Stan Pittman, reaching out to the weakest of the weak, into the land of the broken, bleak and barren, to people who can't imagine why anyone would want to visit their paltry villages.
We get a lot of times of, oh, why are you here? Because with the tourism industry on the island as well, everything's more on the coast where all the resorts are, and that's where a lot of people tend to go, not a lot to villages.
As one might expect in these outlying areas where the insiders never venture out and the outsiders never venture in, when foreigners do show up, the welcome is not always warm.
They're very much insecure in a sense of to themselves. They're not very open.
And it's not so much that they are unfriendly people. They see themselves as poor villagers that no one could possibly care for.
Why would you be interested? Which is God's interested in them, and God has a desire to meet them where they are, and I think it's hard for them to see that.
They cannot see because they have not heard. They have not heard because they have yet to be reached.
I mean, it's hard to imagine, but places that have been thousands and thousands and thousands of years in darkness without any light of the gospel reaching them, nobody there to lift up worship.
Hopeless, they turn to ancestor worship and reach out to spirits.
Mostly in the minorities here is their bondage to evil spirits, very animistic, which is just the belief of having to appease the spirits.
There are obstacles to the gospel galore in these unreached mountain spots, but it starts with reaching out and finding the lost.
They're kind of hard to find because they're so spread out within the areas, and so by going out, we got a lot of information logistically of where these people are, which is really good.
Then letting our light shine, leaving the rest up to God.
We went to areas that probably, and prayed in areas that have never been prayed in, and I think that's very significant, of being a light in that darkness and taking that light to where the darkness is.
Jesus died, and so we ask in His name that the gospel would penetrate this part of Hainan Island, that they would have the opportunity to hear about Christ, that your spirit would convict them, and that people would come into a relationship.
It's a difficult but vital step towards fulfilling the Great Commission.
The way I look at it is it's like working in a field. I mean, you got to work the ground, and do the preparation. And I think this trip is really, really vital for getting into areas and shining light for future work.
And although this work is on the other side of the world, it's supported by all of us who follow Jesus.
It's great to know that churches in the States have our back, and the churches that we're not in this alone. It's us together as Southern Baptists, as believers, brothers and sisters. We're in this work together. Be it in Raleigh or be it in China. We're all in sharing God's word and sharing God's light.
Shine your light so